All right, let's going to start there. Russia. Big story out of the United Kingdom. They are saying, and it comes out of a parliamentary report, that there's a whole lot of high-level Brits in business and in the parliament trapped in a tangle of Russian influence, according to this report. It's a very worrying circumstance, and it relates to an Intelligence and Security Committee concern, saying that Russian influence in the UK is the new normal. Well, James Morrow, are the Russians to the UK what the Chinese are perhaps to some of our business and parliamentarians?
Well, it's pretty interesting, Peter, but one thing that struck me when I was reading this report was how is this news on one level if you spent any time in London and certain neighborhoods of London over the past, decade or so, you will have noticed a large number of very well-to-do Russians and Russian restaurants and Russians in very, very expensive automobiles. So we've known for a long time that they are there. But I think the really interesting thing about this is two things, Peter. Number one, you've got both pro and anti-Putin people there in London, and there's this weird sort of tit-for-tat that's going on the streets of London. But also, the more worrying thing is that this was enabled by so many different things, starting with Labour's visas that they basically sold off for people to come in, and if they invested a certain amount of money, 7 figures, I think it was, to get essentially British citizenship. It's now basically impossible for them to undo. So now they've got this huge Russian influence, both pro and anti-Putin, playing itself out in their legal and financial and real estate sectors. And the UK government is almost powerless to stop this weird situation playing out in their banks and even on the streets of London.
Of course, we didn't sell visas and citizenship to, big spending Chinese who perhaps brought their money to Australia, did we, Cory? We would never have done that. Not that we're criticising Britain for their playment with the Russians. I want to go into this issue in the US in Houston. They've shut down the Chinese consulate. This is the United States government within 72 hours following accusations of growing spy operations coming out of Texas. Is this a big move, Cory?
It's a very big move, and I guess some of it is driven by political imperatives in America. But also it is about time someone did call out the Chinese. I mean, they've been acting in open contravention to international law. We know that. We know that they've been behind cyber intrusions, both in Australia and abroad. We know that they've been taking other people's intellectual property. They've been militarising the South China Sea, and they've done it virtually unchallenged until Donald Trump came along. So good on him for actually putting the rights of the world and saying that the Chinese can't be part of the international community and act in contravention to so many codes which other nations and the United Nations have been prepared to turn a blind eye to repeatedly.